Good morning, viewers and listeners of Concerned Citizens Media. Welcome back. Nice to have you here. So, I have an update on the situation in the Tigray region, also the overall situation in Ethiopia, the celebration mood. The fake election celebration mood is changing rapidly in Ethiopia. So prosperity parties are worried about the fast development in the Tigray region. So the election victory is, became a gloomy, cloudy, and very, very serious situation for those who are dreaming to show prosperity, for Ethiopians. That's what they claim. So let's get started. July 14, 2021. Here are the news and comments from Concerned Citizens Media. The first one is an update on the Tigray war. This is a breaking news. So TDF are getting strength, momentum, and pushing forward. Tigray Defense Force recaptured Alemata and Korem in the fighting credited for Mothers of Tigray. The Amara militia and the Ethiopian Federal Forces decided to withdraw from these areas. Heavy fighting continues to retake the western part of Tigray area like Humera, Maisabri, Raya, and other areas still under the control of the Amara militia and the Ethiopian Defense Forces. The Amara region leaders are calling on all regional population and all Ethiopians to help them fight TDF and prevent them from retaking these areas from them. Such calls on the general public will bring higher toll of civilians, injuries, and deaths. Mr. Getachew Reda, senior officer in TPLF and the former communication of Ethiopia, warned that the Ethiopian authorities not to send the general public to face death and other catastrophic impacts. This desperate attempt by Gondar administration and other Amhara regions officials will not deter TDF fighters from recapturing the areas they claim their own. The Amhara region's officials and the federal government must stop this civil war and retreat from the areas they captured during the law and order operation, the so-called law and order operation. Any disputes over borders must be resolved through negotiation and according to the country's constitution. So, TDF, they captured Alemata, Korem, and some areas, but still heavy fighting going on to capture Humera, Raya, and other areas. So the situation is very tough, and the Amara region officials call all at war. Actually, they call all Amaras, all Ethiopians to come and fight with them so that they can defend the areas they occupied under the so-called law in order operation. It was a law in order operation, but it's not about capturing the land. But the Amaras changed it. They changed it to capture some areas, but now they lost some. They're gonna lose more. The fighting is still happening. They are not resisting. They are calling all, young, old, trained, untrained, all militias, federal police, federal armed forces, whatever they have, they are calling on them to get armed, and fight TDF. So we will see. It's a civil war. It's a very tough civil war, and concerned citizens media, express its concerns that this civil war should be ended. European Union, the United States, they call on Ethiopian government to end this civil war, but they are not listening. They are still waging a war. Calling all citizens to come over there, fight the TDF. So we'll follow it and we'll report to you. The other thing is the United Nations Human Rights Council passed a resolution, HRC47, an European Union-led resolution today. This resolution expressed deep concerns about abuses in the Tigray region of Ethiopia and called for the swift and verifiable withdrawal of Eritrean troops accused of exacerbating the conflict in the region. So the text also call for other, actually more than 2 or 3 points, but I will just mention a couple of them. So if you are interested, you can check it out yourself. The other thing that this resolution call for is on accelerating effort to eliminate all forms of violence against women, girls, preventing and responding to all forms of violence against women and girls with disabilities. The Council called upon states to take immediate and effective actions to respond to all forms of violence against women and girls, and to support and protect all victims and survivors by inter alia ensuring that sexual and reproductive health and reproductive rights are fully realized, including for victims and survivors of sexual and gender-based violence. So it calls for the protection of this, and for also accountability for those who committed human rights violations and abuses. So it calls for accountability for those abusers, and human rights violators, and for the protection of girls and women, and for accountability for other concerns, plus for verifiable and swift withdrawal of Eritrean forces. The other point, the Human Rights Council also called on Higher Commissioner to present the report on the 48th session about the finding in the Tigray, about the accountability, what happened, all the detailed reports to be presented for Human Rights Council on the 48th session. So the Ethiopian government, you can see from their letter, they are very disappointed about this resolution, HRC47. So they responded. I have a little bit statement from the Ethiopian Foreign Ministry. They responded. They are very pissed about this passing of the resolution. And the resolution passed by 20 to 14 20 for it, 14 against it, and 13 abstain. So the Ethiopian Ministry of Foreign Affairs rejected the resolution and demanded its withdrawal. So the Ethiopian government rejected the resolution, asked or demanded for the withdrawal of this resolution. I don't think they're going to get it. I'm going to read the statement from Ethiopia. The government of the Federal Republic of Ethiopia expresses its disappointment at the resolution by the European Union on the situation of human rights in Tigray adopted at the 47th session of the United Nations Human Rights Council. The Ethiopian Foreign Ministry statement concluded by adding, let it be known that those who were involved in committing crimes will be brought to justice and punished to the full extent of the law. The government of Ethiopia once again reiterates its commitment to fulfill its national and international human rights obligations. This is all to defend themselves or to show their opposition against this HRC47. But they are not doing. They are not doing. Nobody was accounted. Nobody has accounted. Yes, some military men, they're just for political purposes. The abuses are high magnitude. So nobody at all accounted. Now they say Ethiopian government will hold those responsible account. Who gonna believe them? They are liars. They lie. They lie a lot. So they're just writing a statement to oppose this resolution. They are angry about this resolution. The ambassador opposed it. The Eritrean ambassador opposed it. They are angry, and a very tough resolution is gonna make those criminals accountable in the future. That's why they are pissed off and angry. Okay. So the Ethiopian government, after get defeated in the Tigray region, what they doing now? They go back and harass those civilians living in Addis Ababa and other cities. So, by arresting and confiscating properties, shutting down hotels, blah blah, against Tigrayan-owned businesses. Ethnic-based attacks continue in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Ethiopian Security Agency and the Federal Police jointly conducted mass arrests of Tigrayan origins living in various parts of the capital city Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Torturing and detaining Tigrayans in undisclosed and overcrowded prison cells are also reported. The Ethiopian authorities have been confiscating Tigrayan-owned businesses, buildings, and other properties, also shutting down 2 hotels on July 11, 2021 for just playing music in Tigray language and performing cultural dance. The two hotels closed by authorities are Harmony and Caleb hotels, which are located at Bole Medianalim area. The global community should do its best to stop the Ethiopian government from conducting its ethnic-based attack against civilians in Ethiopia. Since the Ethiopian government declared war on the Tigray region in November 2020, targeting Tigrayans by using various excuses have been on the rise. The return of TPLF fighters to Tigray region with the glory victory sharply doubled the attacks against Tigrayans living in Addis Ababa and other parts of Ethiopia. So when they got defeated militarily, now the Ethiopian government security forces are targeting civilians living in different parts of Addis Ababa, owning business, those who are owning building, business, hotels, different things. You might already see the videos, putting all these young Tigrayans in overcrowded prison. So it doesn't help them. It doesn't help them to survive more, to govern more. It's exposing them how bad they are, how they are violating human rights and international law. So this will further expose them, confiscating building just by claiming some fake terrorist law. Actually, they are doing against Oromos too. Last time they confiscated more, 147 or 42 Oromo-owned businesses just by listing them under terrorist watch. Massacre continues in Oromia region. The Oromia Special Security Forces, in coordination with Abiy Ahmed's Federal Security Defenses, killed 6 Oromo youths who were sitting and playing together. These massacres were carried out at a village called Zamzamu, Gingi Dimbi district in West Wallagga, Oromia. Their names are 1. Gammachu Habte, 2. Abdosh Abarra, 3. Brahanu Balai, 4. Ismail Dereje, 5. Hambata Mammo, 6. Kidane Guksa. Their names should be recorded and preserved for future references and accountability. So the killing of teenagers or Oromo youth is very common, very common. They're just claiming, giving names like, or supporting Onek Shane or OLF, and just shooting them, killing them, dragging their body on the streets, or throwing them in the bush or riverside. They do this. So it's a very tough situation. Until the system is removed, it's gonna be continue like that. It's gonna be like that. So in this sense, the Tigrayans Defense Force and the Tigrayan people should be feel proud by removing this authoritarian regime from their region. If not, they will feel the same thing like the Oromos are feeling today. The killing and the burning of properties, the burning of wildlife, natural trees, all this happening in Oromia region because so far Oromos are, yes, they are fighting, but they are not be able to remove them like the Tigrayans did. The Tigrayans did very, very great job by removing these criminals, these rapers, these killers from their region. After a while, I hope they will live in peace and stability. Nobody will be raped, nobody will be killed, nobody will be tortured for any reason in the Tigray region, thanks to the TDF fighters. So, Oromos, you must wake up. You must wake up and remove these opidios. Opidios, they are opidios. They just they just changed their names, but they didn't change their character. They didn't change their conduct. They have been killing you for the last 27 years, plus after reform the last 3 years. So they just change names. The conduct's the same. They have been killing you before, arresting you, torturing you, burning your property, and looting your property. And so you need to get up and fight like Tigrayans. Learn from the Tigrayans, mothers, fathers, Tigrayan fighters. They use collectively. You know, you can free yourself. Then you will be enjoying life. Very soon the Tigrayans will enjoy life. Okay, the last reading. Senator Warren, Smith, Senator Markey urged Biden to extend federal student loan pause to March 31st, 2022. Since March 27, 2020, federal student loan interest rates have been set to 0%, and payments have been paused, giving borrowers roughly $72 billion in student loan interest relief and helping many make ends meet during the pandemic. But payments are set to resume on October 1, 2021. More than 120 organizations, including the American Civil Liberties Union, the National Consumer Law Center, and the Consumer Federation of America, have also asked the president to extend the pause. Senators Warren, Smith, and Markey have also issued their support for up to $50,000 in student loan forgiveness. Credit for this, CNBC.com. So, if not extended, this student loan will be resumed in October 1, 2021. If it's extended, I hope it will. So, thanks to the push for this Senator Warren, Senator Smith, and others, and these 120 organizations, I hope it will move until next year, March 2022. And also maybe Biden maybe consider canceling all student debts or 50,000 as Senator Warren and others expressed. So thank you again for being part of Concerned Citizens Media. Let's see what video we share for today and finish today's presentation. Okay, let's see. Okay. Let's see. Okay.
በከባድ ሽንፈት የቆሰሉ ሚሊሻዎች
Okay, I guess satellite issue.
የሚደረግ የተኩስ አቁም የለም በማለት ድርጊቱን ቀጥሎ ቃላቸውን በመጠበቅ በትግራይ ኤሌክትሪክ፣ ቴሌኮሙኒኬሽን፣ ነዳጅና የባንክ አገልግሎት በተቋረጡበት ሁኔታ የነፍስ አድን ስራው ይሳካል ማለት እንደማይቻልም ከፍተኛ ተወካዩ አስረድተዋል። ህብረቱ የተኩስ አቁም ስምምነቱን ለማጠናከር የውጭ ኃይሎችን
infrastructure of transportation. But what's happening today is that positive step, but announced by the government of Ethiopia, what we are
ለም ከፍተኛ ተወካዩ አስረድተዋል። ህብረቱ የተኩስ አቁም ስምምነቱን ለማጠናከር የውጭ ኃይሎችን ኤርትራን ማለታቸው ነው ከትግራይ ለማስወጣትና የሰብአዊ መብት ጥሰቶችን ለማስቆም የሚያስችል ማዕቀብ ለመጣል ዝግጁ
Apologies. Okay, some technical issue. Okay.
መሆኑንም ይፋ አድርገዋል። እርዳታውን በየብስ ለማቅረብ አስቸጋሪ ሁኔታ ያለ በመሆኑ የአውሮፓ ህብረት የአየር ትራንስፖርት በአማራጭነት በመጠቀም
violence against civilians and rape as a weapon of war. The ceasefire is a positive step, but what's happening today is that the Tigray region is being cut of the rest of the world by destroying critical infrastructure of transportation, and this, as I said, could bring the region to the risk of a mass famine. We at the European Union, the Commission, will organize an air bridge to try to bring support to the region, but you can imagine that we cannot solve the problem of a famine affecting to 850,000 people. It's something that is out of our capability. It will require the mobilization of almost 1 million people, 850,000 million people, the mobilization of the United Nations agencies, and to ensure humanitarian access. We are ready to support the population, but we call to the member states to provide donations as a clear sign of EU solidarity. To consolidate the ceasefire, to withdrawal of foreign forces from the Ethiopian territory, to stop human rights violations, and to launch a reconciliation and national dialogue in order to preserve the integrity and political unity of Ethiopia, which remains a clear strategic objective. Finally, we should be ready to use restrictive measures where we believe they are justified and necessary in advancing these goals.
የአውሮፓ ህብረት በኢትዮጵያ መንግስት
Okay, so that's the European Union's, statement on the situation, what they are intended to do, and as I said, they are working on restrictive measures and ways to help the people, and warning the Ethiopian government to, so let's see now the American side. I'm just interested on the English briefing. I'm not interested the whole thing. The other one is Amharic. Let's see.
ቀባይ ኔድ ፕራይስ ትላንት ማምሻውን በሰጡት ጋዜጣዊ መግለጫ በምዕራብ ትግራይ የተቀሰቀሰው ጦርነት ህዝቡ በድርድር በሰላማዊ መንገድ ሊፈታው ሲገባ
whether by organized military or security forces or by rogue elements. The United States further calls on all armed actors to comply with their international humanitarian legal obligations, including regarding the protection of civilians. All those who are responsible for violations of international humanitarian law and human rights abuses must be held accountable. As we have consistently said, any effort to change the internal boundaries of Ethiopia by force is unacceptable. Any issue of such national importance, like borders, would be an issue for the Ethiopian people to decide through consensual dialogue, not by the barrel of a gun.
የአማራ ሚሊሻ ከደቡባዊ ግንባር
So that is a statement from, State Department. Need price is a warning for Ethiopian government. Don't change the borders by using guns or force. Present to the Ethiopian people through peaceful means so they can, resolve the conflict. You cannot just declare law and order operation, then go there and grab or capture the land. You know, that's illegal. Illegal. Because you have the force, you cannot just take cross the border. So that's wrong. So thank you, DW, for that report. Let's see the other one. Okay. So I have one about Afghanistan, one about the USA, then I'm done for today. Let's see.
Good health starts with good sleep and a ring. Aura is the most accurate and personalized health technology.
Okay. Let's see. Here we go. The first one is Afghanistan. Afghanistan coming of the advancing of Taliban's and the fear of the population. Uh-oh. Gotta go.
These long queues outside Kabul's passport office tell a story of
Oh, man.
a nation on the edge. As US and NATO soldiers return home, hundreds of Afghans are trying to escape theirs.
I think that our country is at the verge of collapse and the security situation is very bad. There are no jobs. I'm a student and I'm not able to continue my studies. Therefore, I'm here to get a passport.
Since May, the Taliban's advance has been fast and strategic. Its fighters are surrounding cities and towns, and they are now battling for control of the southeastern city of Ghazni, just hours away from Kabul. Afghan forces are fighting back, but this time without foreign troops on their side.
The Afghan government has decided to retake the cities, districts and villages that the enemy has taken with cowardice or propaganda, and we are clearing these areas. The Afghan special forces have advanced weapons, and we assure our people that there is no problem.
But for Afghans in the north in Kunduz, sheltering in tents made of rags and stones, the daily struggle is against hunger. In 3 months of fighting, many have lost everything.
Here we have no help and we sleep with empty stomachs under the sun. We have been here for a month or 20 days and no one has come to ask about our situation.
Back in Kabul, for these families, a passport means a chance of a future for a generation of Afghans who've only known war. Priyanka Gupta, Al Jazeera.
Well, tonight, new voting restrictions in Texas are on hold, with Democratic lawmakers blocking passage by hunkering down 1,500 miles away here in Washington. And President Biden is speaking out forcefully against Republicans who've already changed election laws in more than a dozen other states. CBS's Nancy Cordes reports from the White House.
We must act and we will act, for our cause is just.
Speaking with unusual fervor in Philadelphia, President Biden accused Republican leaders of embracing autocracy.
They want to be able to tell your vote doesn't count for any reason they make up.
Since President Biden defeated Donald Trump last November, legislatures in 17 states have passed 28 laws that make it harder to vote.
We'll be asking my Republican friends in Congress in states and cities and counties to stand up for God's sake and help prevent this concerted effort to undermine our election and the sacred right to vote. Have you no shame?
Even as he spoke, dozens of Texas House Democrats were fanning out across Capitol Hill, one day after they fled the state by private jet.
We're hoping that Congress will understand the urgency.
Without them, a special session of the Texas legislature ground to a halt today.
The motion fails for lack of quorum.
Holding up a vote on a GOP bill that would scale back vote by mail and give more rights to partisan poll watchers who could intimidate voters. The bill would also criminalize drive-through voting and other measures aimed at easing voting.
Does it make voting more difficult?
Texas Governor Greg Abbott threatened to arrest the fleeing Democrats when they return. And he said stalling won't work.
I will be calling special session after special session after special session all the way up until Election Day of next year if I have to.
And Nancy joins us now from the White House. You know, the president today called the fight against voting rights the test of our time. What about those Democrats who say he's not doing enough?
That's right, Nora, and they say that because as emphatic as the president was today calling for sweeping voting rights legislation, these activists and progressives argue that Congress is simply not going to have the votes to pass that legislation unless the Senate changes its filibuster rules. And that is something that the president has been reluctant to embrace, at least so far.
Nancy Cordes at the White House, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So the Republicans, what they're doing is really shame all over the country, really very bad. It's sending a wrong message to other countries. The United States is, seen by the global community like a democratic country where the right of individuals is respected, voting on gun right or whatever it is. Now they are looking different excuses to eliminate the votes of the minority. This is shame. This is shame on them, really. And what is the fear? You cannot win by competing or by based on your policy. You have to present your strong policy so the people can vote for you, so that you can win based on the policy, policy strengths, not by intimidating voters or cutting, voter turnouts by using different tactics because you have the majority in the state. That's the only reason. If you don't have the majority, you will not do this thing. So Republicans, you must stop. And the whole world is watching you, what you're doing. You got to respect the right of individuals to vote. You want to control some illegal way of voting, work with the Democrats, convince them, work with them, show them this is illegal. This is going to hurt both Republicans and the Democrats. So what the Republicans are doing all over the states is shameful. Really, it's very shameful. I know they are using some kind of loopholes, some kind of legal techniques to intimidate, especially the minority votes. They must stop. They must work together with Democrats and find out something wrong. If it's wrong, eliminate it with, common votes, not only by Republican votes, So just claiming different excuses to eliminate the legal votes or making harder is not the way to win in the coming election. So, as I said, America is the pillar of democracy. Everyone is watching you. I know we are losing that image thanks to Trump, lies, and all kind of problems he created. chaos at the Capitol Hill, attempting to use force, attempting voter suppression. All this is gonna change America's image. So we need to correct. The Republicans must correct it. The Republicans must stop this intimidation. They must stop tactics to eliminate the votes. They must stop to, they must stop attempting to win through this intimidation tactic. You have to try to win based on your argument, based on your policy for the country. That's that's the only thing I want to say for now. We don't want to destroy the American image. We want to keep the American image. Yeah, America is largely believed in democracy. You compete, you lose, you give up. You surrender to the winner for the sake of the people, for the sake of the country. That's the system. It has been like that for a while. You don't fight. You don't initiate people to fight for you. You don't call them to the Capitol Hill, creating chaos, death, and destruction. You don't do that in America. Trump attempted, he failed. So we don't have to repeat again. The Republicans, stop, please. So, when we come to Ethiopia, Ethiopia is in a very, very bad shape. Very bad shape. All eyes are on Ethiopia. European Union, the United States, all. They are watching. They are watching the criminal activities of this administration, human rights violations. The only thing they are not paying too much attention is what is happening in Oromia, what is happening in Benishangul, and what is happening in Addis Ababa and other areas. Not too much attention like the Tigrayans, but people are dying. Public properties are looted, burning, especially in Oromia. The natural forest is burning. The Ethiopian government looking for those oil fighters and burning the natural forest, which is the wealth of the nation. That's a crime. That's a crime. They are killing our youth. They are killing our elders, women. They are burning their properties, looting their properties, and killing them and destroying their body on the streets, on the riverside. So we want the global community to pay attention in Oromia to a lot of crime happening unreported. And we also ask the international media to pay attention to what's happening in Oromia. We appreciate their great concern and total attention in Tigray. We need some of that attention in Oromia and other parts of Ethiopia. So the Tigrayans are doing good. Congratulations on your achievement. You did very good. The TDF and the public support is very strong. The public support I see on the TV, on different social media is very, very strong. Ethiopians, Oromos especially, they must learn from these people and learn how to defend themselves against this brutal regime. And now he gonna claim he got the public vote. He gonna claim when 50% of the country didn't support him, and he intimidated. He used all tactics of eliminating the candidates. Now he won 97 something, 97 point something. I know he's gonna claim this victory will be temporary unless he work with others. The United States say election is not the solution. The European Union the same thing. So release political prisoners, bring all stakeholders, including those who called you blacklisted as a terrorist organizations. These are citizens of that country. And bring everybody on the table, all the stakeholders on the table, to negotiating table. Then start the reconciliation dialogue and find the best solution for that country. Your system is not working, Mr. Abiy Ahmed, your leadership is not working. I called upon you, the concerned citizens media repeatedly called on you to resign, leave the place for other Ethiopians to fix the conflict, to fix the fighting, to fix the war, to end the command post in that country, and to end ethnic-based attacks, ethnic-based property confiscation. That's what you're doing in Addis Ababa against Tigrayans, in Oromia against Oromos, and maybe in Benishangul too. I think still in command post. So your leadership is a total failure. You need to have the courage like Haile Mariam Desalegn to give up your power. Don't continue the bloodshed. Don't continue the civil war. Don't act everything is peaceful, everything is okay. People hate you, the global community hate you, no one want to deal with you. So that's the situation. If you can hear, I don't know if a normal person would resign, facilitate for others to step in. But this guy, I don't know. This guy, when people die, he get out and plant a tree. It's a different mentality. It's a different mentality. That's why he just keep going, keep killing, keep arresting, keep intimidating people by using all the country's resources for bad cause. So that's all I'm gonna say for today. Thank you for coming back and listening to me, listening to concerned citizens. I appreciate your comment. Keep commenting and sharing the videos. I will be back with other news and comment. So long everyone, and be safe.